Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my English podcast, where we talk about interesting topics to improve your English and your mindset. Today, we will discuss something that stops many people from reaching their dreams: the fear of failure. Why are people so afraid to fail? And why does this fear stop them from trying? Let's explore this in 3 parts. Chapter 1: Why are people afraid to fail? Fear of failure is something many people experience. It is a common feeling that can make life difficult. But why are so many people afraid of failing? One reason is that they believe failure means they are not good enough. They think that if they fail, it shows they are weak or incapable. This kind of thinking can make them feel ashamed and afraid to try new things. Another reason people fear failure is because they worry about what others will think. Imagine you want to do something new, like start a project or join a competition. But then you think, what if I fail? What will my family and friends say? This fear of being judged can stop you from even starting. Many people fear that others will laugh at them or criticize them. They don't want to be embarrassed in front of others, so they choose to stay in their comfort zone. Some people grow up in environments where failure is not accepted. Maybe their parents, teachers, or friends told them that failing is bad or made them feel bad when they made mistakes. Over time, they start to believe that failing is something to avoid at all costs. This can make them very scared to take risks or try new things because they are afraid of disappointing others or themselves. Fear of failure can also come from perfectionism. Some people want to be perfect at everything they do. They think that if they fail, it means they are not smart or talented. For example, a student may not want to take a difficult exam because they are afraid of not getting the highest score. They don't realize that failure is part of the learning process. Perfectionism can make people forget that it's okay to make mistakes and learn from them. Think about this. When you were a baby, you didn't know how to walk. You tried, and you fell many times. But you didn't stop trying. You got back up again and again until you could walk. As children, we don't think of falling as failure. We just see it as part of learning. But as we grow older, we start to worry more about failure. We care too much about what people think, and we forget how to try without fear. Another interesting thing about fear is that it often makes problems seem bigger than they really are. For example, you might think that failing an exam will ruin your life. But in reality, one exam will not define your future. Or you might think that if you fail in public, everyone will remember it forever. But the truth is, most people are too busy with their own lives to focus on your mistakes. Fear of failure can feel very strong, but it is important to understand that everyone fails sometimes. Even the most successful people in the world have failed many times. For example, famous inventors, athletes, and business people often talk about their failures. They failed, but they learned from those failures and kept trying. This is what helped them succeed. Failure is not the end of the road. It is just a step along the way. When you fail, it doesn't mean you are not good enough. It means you are trying, and that is something to be proud of. People who never fail are usually people who never try. But those who take risks and learn from their mistakes can achieve great things. So, why are people afraid of failure? The reasons can be different for everyone, but the feeling is the same. It is a fear of being judged, of feeling ashamed, or of not being perfect. But the truth is, failure is natural, and it is an important part of life. Once we understand this, we can start to face our fears and take steps toward our dreams. Chapter 2: How fear stops people from trying. Fear of failure can be very powerful. It can stop people from doing things they really want to do. Many people have big dreams and goals, but they never take the first step because they are afraid. This fear acts like a wall that blocks them from moving forward. When fear takes over, it makes people doubt themselves. They think, what if I fail? What if I make a mistake? These thoughts make them feel stuck. For example, imagine someone who dreams of starting a business. They have an idea and they feel excited about it. But then fear starts to creep in. They begin to worry about all the things that could go wrong. They think, what if nobody buys my product? What if I lose all my money? What if people think I'm not good at this? These fears make them hesitate, and instead of trying, they give up before they even start. Fear of failure can also stop people from learning new skills. Many people want to learn something, like playing the piano, speaking a new language, or even cooking. But they are too afraid to begin. They think, I'm not good at this. What if I make a mistake? What if people laugh at me? These negative thoughts make them afraid to try. So, instead of starting, they stay in their comfort zone and never give themselves a chance to grow. Sometimes, fear makes people feel like they need to be perfect before they start. For example, someone might want to learn English, but they think, I can't start speaking until my grammar is perfect. This kind of thinking stops them from practicing, which is the best way to learn. Fear of making mistakes keeps them silent, and as a result, they miss the chance to improve. Fear of failure can also make people avoid challenges. For example, a student might avoid entering a competition because they are afraid they won't win. A worker might avoid applying for a promotion because they think they won't get it. In these situations, fear whispers in their ear, don't try. It's safer this way. But by avoiding these opportunities, they also avoid the chance to succeed. What's interesting is that when people let fear control them, they often feel regret later. They look back and think, what if I had tried? Maybe I could have done it. Regret is a heavy feeling. It reminds us that we missed out on something because we were too afraid to try. In many cases, the regret of not trying feels worse than the fear of failing. Another way fear stops people is by making them focus on the worst-case scenario. When you're afraid of failing, your mind often imagines the worst things that could happen. For example, if you want to start a project, your mind might say, if this fails, everyone will laugh at me, and I'll never succeed. But in reality, the worst-case scenario is often not as bad as we imagine. Most people won't even remember your mistakes, and failure is not the end of the world. Fear can also make people compare themselves to others. When you see someone who is already successful, you might think, I can't do what they do. I'm not as talented or smart. This kind of thinking makes fear grow stronger. But we forget that successful people were also beginners once. They faced their fears, made mistakes, and kept going. If they can do it, you can too. When fear stops people from trying, it robs them of the chance to grow. It's important to understand that failure is not something to fear. It's a part of learning and improving. Every time you fail, you learn something new, and you get closer to your goals. If you don't try because of fear, you'll never know what you're capable of. Fear of failure may seem strong, but courage and effort are stronger. Chapter 3: How to overcome the fear of failure. Overcoming the fear of failure is not easy, but it is possible. It starts with how you think about failure. Many people believe that failure is a bad thing, but this is not true. Failure is not the end of your journey. It is part of your journey. When you fail, you learn important lessons. These lessons help you grow and become stronger. Instead of being afraid of failure, you can see it as a chance to improve. One way to overcome fear is to focus on learning instead of being perfect. Nobody is perfect, and everyone makes mistakes. Imagine a child learning to ride a bicycle. At first, they will fall many times. But every time they fall, they learn how to balance better. In the same way, when you fail, you learn how to do better next time. Instead of saying, I failed, you can say, I learned something new. This small change in thinking can make a big difference. Another way to face your fear is to take small steps. Sometimes, fear feels very big because we think about the whole journey at once. For example, if you want to learn English, you might feel scared because you think about speaking fluently right away. But you don't have to do everything at once. You can start with small steps, like learning 5 new words every day or practicing speaking for a few minutes. When you take small steps, you feel less pressure and your fear becomes smaller. It is also important to remind yourself that failure is normal. Everyone fails at some point, even successful people. For example, Thomas Edison, the man who invented the light bulb, failed many times before he succeeded. When people asked him about his failures, he said, I didn't fail. I found 10,000 ways that didn't work. His story shows us that failure is not something to be ashamed of. It is something to be proud of because it means you are trying. Fear of failure often comes from worrying about what other people think. You might think if I fail, people will laugh at me or judge me. But the truth is, most people are too busy with their own lives to focus on your mistakes. Even if someone does criticize you, it doesn't matter. Their opinion does not define your worth. What matters is that you are trying and working towards your goals. To overcome fear, it helps to surround yourself with positive people. When you spend time with people who support and encourage you, you feel more confident. They remind you that it's okay to fail and that you are capable of great things. Positive people can help you see failure as an opportunity, not a problem. Finally, it is important to be kind to yourself. Sometimes we're our own biggest critics. When we fail, we say things like, I'm not good enough or I can't do this. But these thoughts are not true. Instead of being hard on yourself, try to be your own best friend. Remind yourself that it's okay to make mistakes and that every step forward, even a small one, is progress. Overcoming fear takes time and practice, but every time you face your fear, you become stronger. The next time you feel scared to try something, ask yourself, what is the worst that can happen? Most of the time, the worst thing is not as bad as we imagine. And even if you fail, you will learn something valuable. Remember, the people who succeed in life are not the ones who never fail. They are the ones who fail, learn, and try again. You have the power to do the same. Don't let fear stop you from trying. Take small steps, stay positive, and believe in yourself. Failure is not the end. It's just the beginning of something new. So, don't let the fear of failure stop you. It's okay to fail because it's part of growing and improving. Remember, trying is always better than not trying. Thank you for listening to today's episode. I hope you feel inspired to take action, even if it feels scary. See you next time, and keep learning English every day.